Today, we need to talk about Jung Kook being shunned after a male dating rumor and what happened there. I also wanted to get into Jung Kook being upset over needing to shave his head for the military, and then we have HYBE being mentioned recently by RM. So hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Hate it or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, he's spilling mug merch, and let's go. It's very interesting to see idols talk about the labels and how the labels help the artist's career. A lot of people think that the label contributes nothing, and others think that the labels do a lot. I want to give some backstory here on just what relationships with labels seem to be like, and then get into what RM said recently about HYBE. New Jeans is one of the newest girl groups to come from HYBE, and they really got a huge head start with their career given the massive push a label with BTS in it would have. One of the members, Min Hee-jin, came out recently and allegedly talked about how HYBE didn't actually contribute to New Jeans' first EP's success, and that Hee-jin was the one that had to be strategic with the budgeting, and that she was actually the one responsible for the planning of everything. Netizens were mad at this, but I don't think they understand how a lot of labels work. HYBE has a more Western approach when it comes to their management, and a lot of Western labels typically will just give the artist a specific amount of money, and then it's up to the artist to decide how it's allocated. If the artist can't make good with the resources that are given to get a hit song, the label will often freeze their budget and not allow them to release any music until they feel the artist will be ready to make the label's money back. The controversy comes from this idea that a Korean label would often not have this type of approach. However, this business approach makes a lot of sense, and HYBE is a part of a lot of Western management. But netizens were saying that Hee-jin should not be so arrogant about her contributions. What I just mentioned is more of the other side and possibility that I didn't see anyone talk about. There's also a chance that what she's saying is ignorant and HYBE did contribute more than money. Netizens were saying that money can come from anywhere, banks, investors, and other labels, etc. But the exposure and the initial push that would come from signing with BTS's label is something money can't buy. While I agree with this sentiment, I do want to ask how many people are following New Jeans that are ARMYs. This is not a question to prove any point, but a question of genuine curiosity, because did they actually get an initial push? Looking at New Jeans' style, it seems like something ARMYs would not necessarily be interested in. A little while ago, RM did an interview with the Permission to Dance press tour where he addressed HYBE in a very specific way. I think a reporter had asked how the boys managed to stay so humble, and honestly, the way to stay humble is looking at the reality of things. There's no such thing as self-made. We all need other people to help in order to be successful. BTS would not be here without ARMY, and RM made that clear to say half the success comes from ARMY, and then each of the members contribute individually 5%, 5 times 7 is 35, and then the remaining 15% is allocated to HYBE. As we can see here, a label tends to not contribute everything. A label is not even 80% of the success of an artist. The majority comes from the boys' hard work and the audience. Part of that hard work is likely the boys staying up late at night, figuring out what they want to do. But this is all just my conspiracy and theory. Take it all with a grain of salt. However, New Jeans' artist is not only the one that's getting backlash for her alleged comments to HYBE, it seems like Jung Kook has been getting some backlash too. There's pages on Twitter and everywhere where people will make shipping theories between Jung Kook and Taeyang. I think it's very cute, and you're allowed to believe whatever you want to believe. I do even react to some cute Taeyang and Jung Kook moments on Patreon. We have a limited $1 tier, so if you're interested, I will link it below and hopefully see you there. And so I never think these accounts are problematic just because they make shipping content. It's up to you to believe it or just take it as cute content. The problem is when others come into these accounts to attack or use the content from these accounts to attack other people. There was this cute video floating around where Jung Kook talks about how much he hates calling and texting. He has mentioned this many times before and will often be hard to reach as he throws his phone away when he is doing stuff. So unlike me, he is never around his phone. But that's a problem you deal with dating Jung Kook. I'll hear from him once a year. It's fine. Joking aside, people thought this was so funny how much Jung Kook hates calling and texting. However, he is so willing to call and text Taeyang all the time, and then follows up the video with shots of him calling and texting Taeyang all the time. I think this is so funny, and obviously it doesn't mean too much. It's cute, but I would assume he acts the same way with all the other members. But also the footage we are seeing are from BTS shows. So obviously he has to keep his phone around him to make sure staff doesn't call him or if he needs to be reached on set. I think it's absolutely hilarious though, and it's definitely cute. It shows how close Jungkook is with Taeyang, and I love that. These moments are always so cute within a band, and it's so precious. People were upset that these videos were making Jungkook seem gay or that he was being called gay. I think it's 2023, and whatever Jungkook's orientation may or may not be is not really something that anyone should be upset about. Like seeing an idol possibly be gay because he either could or could not be, we have no idea, but that won't make you gay. We exist in this world where you're likely to be friends with a gay person and very aware that you can't just catch the gay. It's very interesting how people are so scared to quote unquote become gay by looking at someone who is gay, and like even if your child watches a gay celebrity and thinks, okay, I want to try that, if he or she is not gay, then they will try it and realize they didn't like it. Just like how many gay people have tried being straight and realized they don't like it. But other than this, Jungkook has also been in circulation again, as he had previously addressed the military. If you didn't know this story, then hang on tight, let me give you some backstory. But Jin recently enlisted, we know this. When Jin posted pictures of his shaved head, it was a bit of a freak out moment. A lot of people didn't know if he'd look good with a bald head, and then others didn't know how he'd feel about his bald head. And it was confirmed that he was initially nervous, as he wrote on Weverse, "It actually does look good." Jungkook was doing a live stream a little while back, and someone asked if Jungkook will look good with a shaved head. Jungkook took a moment, and it appeared like he was a little emotional, and he obviously immediately knew what this was referencing, even though this was years ago, and maybe the military wasn't exactly a huge prominent conversation. But Jungkook took a moment to maybe imagine his head bald, or just took a moment to be emotional about it, and eventually Jungkook answered that he hopes so. There's probably some shaved Jungkook photo fan edits floating around Google that you could find, and given how the edits of Jin's shaved head were quite accurate to the real thing, we can probably assume that Jungkook would look similar to those edits as well. And I think all of the BTS members would have the ability to look great with a shaved head. However, I do want to say that Jungkook is the youngest, and he likely won't go right away. I would imagine we still have Jungkook and the other BTS members for a few more months before they all go, and Jungkook might enlist a little bit later, as it seems like his solo album debut might come a little later. I am very curious about the rollout of things. It does feel like all the members are pushing out content so fast and so much, but they don't have too much time. I do hope when all the remaining members put out work, the promotion won't be rushed and they will have time to breathe, because more likely than not, the promotion of one member would be eaten up by another member if the other member comes in during mid-promotion of another member. So they should all have a bit of time to breathe and let the album take a breath before ARMYs are hit with another album. Also, I don't want ARMYs to be super exhausted from just streaming so much content, but regardless of whether you stream or not, I'll be here with you to stream and fangirl over the new albums. I'm looking forward to it. But what do you think about all this? How do you feel about Jungkook's orientation talked about over these videos? How would you feel about Jungkook shaving his head? And how do you feel about HYBE being talked about? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.